Welcome back to the show, everybody. Let's take a look at the numbers real quick while we run the headlines here. We're going to go over this. Stephen Thomas, Vitalik Buterin reminder there about Ripple and Ethereum. And what about Codius? Did we forget about that? Summary judgment. Don't forget about that. We're going to get into it. We're days away, ladies and gentlemen. And we're also going to talk about this. CZ Binance talks about global reserve currency change. And we're also going to hear from Jerome Powell, who's talking global stablecoins. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out this. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook for exclusive content. It is $1.068 trillion market cap for crypto today. Make sure you give CoinPep Rico a follow or download that mobile app, baby. Right now, Bitcoin 21,400, Ethereum 1,600 plus. XRP at the number 7 spot this morning at 34 cents. Look, let's get into this because, look, we all know that there's uncertainty in this market. I'm going to be very quick and very brief with you, but I want you to know this. Masterworks and buying fine art has been a real record set for returns, especially in markets like this. Now, nothing's guaranteed in life, but I can tell you this, in 2008, when we had to collapse, the market for art dropped 40%. But you know what? The rest of the markets dropped 80 or 90%. So you take that with you, and don't forget, you can compare the S&P 500 to the current artist works on this page, or the housing market, or the U.S. corporate bonds, or gold itself. And as you can see, the S&P is really underperforming against Lucio Fontana, as you can see many other artists on here as well. There's no minimums, but if you had put 45,000 in, the last round of paintings that got sold, you'd have made 60 grand. How about that one? Link underneath the video. Very quickly, I want to move through this. Ethereum Joseph said Ripple isn't a competitor, and he's been very clear that Ripple's not a competitor here. But we know, those of us who've been in this space for a long time, know that a Bitcoin developer back in 2013 by the name of Vitalik Buterin spent time crashing on the couch of Stephen Thomas from Ripple. And because they couldn't work out the visa, he ended up going away and creating Ethereum. But he did so by led him to incorporate Ripple's key value data structure into Ethereum. So, you know, when it comes to really motive, I think you got all the motive in the world for Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin and Joseph Lubin to understand, in my mind at least, that they knew from the belly of the beast that Ripple and XRP was something to be very, very fearful of in the business world, in the innovation tech world. And, you know, we all know about ETHgate, and ETHgate's very real. But where is the congressman, Tom Emmer, Warren Davidson? Where are you guys at? Where are all of you at in standing up and asking for an investigation? Why the silence, right? We'll see if it continues. This is Stephen Thomas very quickly here telling you just how incredible Codius is, smart contracts. And we've been waiting for that. And in fact, shout out to the person who sent me this. This is Codius.org right here. And it says it's still in beta, so expect some dragons. But nevertheless, it's an open hosting protocol here, and it can really speak to anything. Write code in any programming language. Codius can be configured with a suitable environment. State-of-the-art sandboxing means applications are isolated from the host and from each other. Codius can talk to anything connected to the internet. How about that? Codius applications can pay each other using a currency using Interledger. Codius runs at close to native speed. So, you know, it's pretty remarkable to understand that there is this other suitable use case that Codius has really been designed for that can just really add and complement to the XRP ledger in the order of functionality that really has yet to be explored in full scale. Very excited. Listen to this very quickly here.
And I think Ethereum is like a big step in the right direction because it's much closer to how people are used to writing software. The only concern I would have with that is it's still deterministic, right? So you still can't make an HTTP call directly out of an Ethereum contract. So it still requires this other piece, this middleware layer to connect to. And I think in that sense, like Ethereum and Codius are really complementary, because Codius doesn't really work if you don't have some sort of ledger or data store blockchain that you can store your data in, and Ethereum doesn't really work if you don't have something to talk to the outside world. So I really see those systems as very complementary, and we've had really good interactions with the Ethereum team on like potentially working together and kind of exploring that interaction better.
But instead, what we've really seen over the years is ETHgate pursued, and what appears to be the appearance of improprieties coming from a government agency that's supposed to be objectionable and above reproach, and really appears to not have been. But speaking of the SEC and agency there, let's take a look here from James K. Filan as a very, very quick reminder, because we're really days away here. Oh, very quickly here. We know as far as the expert testimony, which we recently just covered, we know that any replies to the opposition must be filed by August 30th, the end of this month, just 9 days from now. Then the matter will be fully briefed and must be decided by District Judge Torres. So waiting for that. Now, the next thing we're waiting for in the shoe to drop here is the motions for summary judgment to begin. And here we go. So the motions will begin by September 13, 2022. Oppositions to the motion summary judgment responses should be entered and filed by October 18, 2022. And replies, to those must be filed by November 15th, 2022. Briefing will be complete at that point, and we will then be waiting for District Judge Torres' final decision on that. So this is where we're at. He still holds here that he's looking for a March 31st, and it could be on or before, right? And it could be, floating on that regard too, but that's where he's looking at for ultimate decision. And we're still waiting for an answer on the emails, the Hinman emails as well. So let's keep this moving. We got a lot to talk about here, but reminder about the summary judgment that starts in just about a month. We're talking 23 days from now is what it looks like. When summary judgment motions are public, we will see evidence we are currently unaware of, says John Deaton, including testimony from Brad Garlinghouse, Chris Larson, Joel Katz, David Schwartz, right, and former Ripple employees as well. It includes testimony from Hinman and other SEC officials like Amy Starr, Valerie Sispanic, and others. So we are eagerly awaiting that. So that's why it's so important we get into that summary judgment phase, not only because it starts to close out the trial, but the case itself, but that's the information we really need to get into. Now, this is CZ Binance here, and he's asked in his opinion about the changing of a global reserve currency. Do we need to make a change? Listen to what he says here.
Replace the US dollar as the world's reserve currency? Would that be a good thing?
I'm actually not sure. It depends on how it's done. I think a direct replacement is probably not good. I think we should evolve the world in small incremental steps and not big moves. Whenever you have a big move, a big abrupt change is usually bad for most people. The current players may not be ready. The industry may not be ready. I think slow incremental change is probably the best. I think U.S. dollar serves its purpose. It's great, but we can do things that are around it first, and then I think slow, gradual change is best, because the impact to industries, to society, needs to be managed.
It absolutely does. And I think that's well said and insightful, with really good perspective from CZ Binance. You're going to make a change like that. You don't want to harm the rest of the world holding the U.S. dollar. You don't want to harm the U.S., right? And any of the citizens in the country either, because there is a stress there, because the national dollar serves as the global reserve. But I think, honestly, from what CZ said there, we're watching Ripple and the government, the United States government and other governments around the world, slowly move to that phase. And to that point, looky here. If you ever wanted to know if the new financial system will be introduced, I think this should answer it for us. I tell you that, and I really believe it. Targeting the U.S. dollar's hegemony, it is right here. Russia, China, and the BRICS nation plan to craft a new international reserve currency. This would deeply fragment the world in global payments and stress the US dollar as the global reserve currency even further. Let's think about this now. BRICS in itself, with the others outside of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, that are also joining BRICS coalition, really equal about half of the population on the planet. This is not a small topic, but that's why I do believe incrementally we're seeing things like FedNow, the building and launching to come very near term of the FedNow domestic system. And I believe if we get the stablecoin legislation that they say we're going to get in September, October, or by the end of this year, and if not, then after the elections early next year, certainly, then that could be just as important as the Telecommunications Act of 1996, because you can't just do just faster payments, faster settlement without really introducing the stable coins itself, or the USD coin, or whether it be the Bank of America coin and the PNC coin and this coin and that coin, because that's going to help, I believe, build the domestic liquidity pools organizing on this new fourth industrial revolution, which is the Internet of Value and the new payment structures, and getting everybody there and getting that liquidity built and getting it established with clear regulations about what stable coins will be. This will be huge. And let us not forget, there are a few entities out here that believe Ripple XRP and Stellar Lumens XLM can serve as global stable coins. Remember, XRP can act as a bridge currency to all of the dollars of the world instead of trying to replace them. And that's what's very key about understanding about XRP. It is not threatening the financial system. It is a solution to complement it so we can move to a smoother experience. And speaking of which, shout out to Mr. Clean from last year, end of last year, by the way. This is Fed Chair Jerome Powell sitting with BIS, Augustin Carstens, and Jens Wiedmann from the EU. And you need to hear what he's about to tell you about stable coins and global stable coins. And listen to this and public-private relationships. Very key moment here.
Turning to stable coins, so to the extent a stablecoin is backed by sovereign currencies of leading nations, that's certainly an improvement over crypto assets, I would say. But nonetheless, where does the credibility come from? It comes from that sovereign currency that is the backstop. The thing is, existing sovereign currencies are issued with the benefit of the public in mind. The potentially fast and wide adoption of a global stablecoin, potentially a global currency governed only by the incentives of a private company,
governed by the only incentives of a private company,
is something that will deserve and will receive the highest level of regulatory expectations.
Something that will deserve and receive the highest level of regulation, right? Government expectations and regulation. This speaks to what I believe is FSOC and OFAC, right? You know, the Financial Stability Oversight Council, regulatory body, the Office of Foreign Asset Control, right? The Treasury regulatory agencies that would oversee something that becomes systemically important. And by the way, the Federal Reserve sits as a member on FSOC, right? So this is very key to me, what he's saying here in this academic speak. Keep listening.
And is regulation where it needs to be on global stablecoins yet? It's not, but we're making progress. Nonetheless, stablecoins may have a role to play with appropriate regulation, but that role will not be to form the basis of a new global monetary system. Private stablecoins are not going to be an appropriate substitute for a sound monetary system based in central bank money.
And there you have it. And if you understand exactly like the diagram that I just showed here, this is a complement to the system. There will not be a new replacement of the system, right? Dollars from central banks and governments are not going away. That's what I just heard him say to all of us. But listen to this part right here again.
Are issued with the benefit of the public in mind. The potentially fast and wide adoption of a global stablecoin, potentially a global currency governed only by the incentives of a private company, is something that will deserve and will receive the highest level of regulatory expectations. And is regulation where it needs to be on global stablecoins yet? It's not, but we're making progress. Nonetheless, stablecoins may have a role to play with appropriate regulation, but that role will not be to form the basis of a new global monetary system.
That role will be not to form a new basis of a global monetary system, right? So whatever they're going to decide to do, it must complement the system. That's exactly what XRP is designed to do, and certainly XLM as well.
Private stablecoins are not going to be an appropriate substitute for a sound monetary system based in central bank money.
And I have to say to you there, that's where I really say, don't stop watching for the USD Tether rug pull from a government agency. Department of Justice is already performing a criminal investigation, they said, on Tether. Keep your eyes out on that, because, you know, they could go hard on that and make it the poster child to say, this has been a publicly advertised digital counterfeit dollar, right? Because even though they register with FinCEN, they have not been regulated at all. There's a key difference there. Now, will we see what the World Bank said? Will we see stable coins for cross-border payment become global stable coins as cited as Ripple XRP or Stellar and Stellar Lumen XLM? Will we see, stay with me here because I'm going to show you something, the coordination and the introduction of global official sector stablecoins, as cited by Mark Carney, the former governor of the Bank of England in 2019, is to be the solution as Ripple and XRP leapfrog slow and expensive correspondent banking and can help with the spillover shocks associated with the dominance of the US dollar as a reserve currency. How can it do that? It can do that by acting as a buffer, as an insulary buffer, meaning that all the currencies really are strong inside of their country, right? And you can still, within your country, control the currency and the printing and the inflation and the this and that. But no longer will it be affected because someone else has to hold it. That need will no longer be necessary. And I think it will be very advantageous for the world to move towards this. But I believe, as CZ Binance said, you have to do it in phases. And by the way, this here from Deloitte, one of the big four accounting firms, consulting firms, has known about XRP since 2015. And they say here that the strongest possible driver for a global adoption of a global reserve currency would be global institutions that can force their will on most cross-border trade, mandating its use. Don't believe me? I'm going to show it to you. This is it from Deloitte right here. And this here talks about XRP. We all know the deal about XRP. But what you want to see is this right over here, talking about the SDR. Special drawing right was created during the Bretton Woods, the fixed exchange rate system. Well, what if we heard from the IMF that there is a need for a new Bretton Woods moment? Money is a technology resolving obligations between individuals who do not know or trust each other. The strongest possible driver for national adoption of a cryptocurrency is for the national government to mandate that taxes be paid in the cryptocurrency. Similarly, the strongest possible driver for global adoption of a global reserve cryptocurrency would be global institutions that can force their will on most cross-border trade, mandating its use. Are you hearing this with me? In a trusted third currency, which sheer size may be the global reserve currency, or in a weighted basket of currencies as a risk management strategy to limit exposure to any single currency. You could also add commodities into that as well. International intercurrency exchanges travel over peer-to-peer technology platforms based on, inspired by, the technologies that underpin cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin or XRP. But value will continue to be stored and exchanged in conventional sovereign currencies. This is exactly what this diagram says from Ripple right here. The value will still be held and counted in those currencies. XRP would merely act as a bridge or a complement. And now we have to ask ourselves the question, are we literally watching this phase in as XRP proves to be a successful payment token and make its way to the designation of a global stable coin at some point here? That's where we are on this day. I tell you, I couldn't be more excited about where things are. Takes a lot of speculation, takes a lot of work and theories, but don't let the trolls and the cancel culture, no matter how polite they try to be about it, stop you from thinking about the things that they're actually talking about. I'll catch all of you on the next one. Before I get out of here very quickly, not your keys, not your crypto. Ledger Nano, ladies and gentlemen, trusted by 4 million customers. And not many people realize this, but you can buy and sell crypto directly to your cold storage wallet. Oh, yes, you can. Don't believe me? Click the link below and you'll find out too. Catch you on the next one.